Given that Waffle House is somewhat of a hot topic in the world at the moment, I only thought it sensible to explain my experiences with Waffle House and how they made me realize I need to study drug deals more and how I need to spend more time watching RuPaul's Drag Race because apparently those are things that are going to somehow work themselves into my daily lives. This is my story. Once upon a time, when I reached that shining example of youth when you have both a car and the money to put gas in said car, I had but two loves: fishing and crippling self-isolation. As such, it was natural I spent a great deal of time silently staring at water, even though 9 times out of 10 nothing happened. So, when I finally grew tired of it, it was anywhere between midnight and 3 a.m., meaning, should I desire substance, my options were gas station food, and the last resort, of course, Waffle House. Naturally, I was apprehensive as, for some inexplicable reason, there was always a lot of people there. Though, when you're at the stage of life where you genuinely believe your body will go into shock if you have one more cold taquito or stale piece of pizza, you make do. Arriving, I found that I wasn't alone. Two of the booths were filled, one with 4 drag queens that had just finished a show at whatever club they happened to be employed at that strange Sunday night/Monday morning. Now, at 16 years old, and having no access to media involving them, I regarded them with fascination. It's sort of like when you see a Sikh for the first time. You immediately Google, who are those people with the beards and the turbans? However, lacking any means to research what was before me, I settled into a booth with a chocolate chip waffle and a glass of orange juice. The other booth was inhabited by 2 security guards that just got off their shift that night and did not have an inside voice, making their conversation audio to the drag queen's video. Naturally, I was in shock, as the worker manning the kitchen immediately stepped outside to smoke, leaving a confused teenager, 2 security guards, and 4 drag queens alone in a Waffle House somewhere around 3 a.m. I tried to focus on my waffle, yet as someone with no concept of drag queens, I kept looking over to their table. I mean, how could I not? Let's be real here. Like, even lazy drag queens dress somewhere between a Brazilian carnival performer and Liberace. It's kind of hard to stay focused when you have something slightly more interesting than a waffle near you. Eventually, they caught me looking. And by some miracle, I looked both confused and innocent enough that I didn't cause offense. So, the leader of their little platoon decided to have a joke at my expense. They looked at me with those big, sultry eyes and those comically large eyelashes and said, "You see something you like, hun?" Naturally, confusion cut off the parts of my brain dealing with speech and recognition, so only 3 words managed to escape my lips. "What are you?" The table burst into laughter, confirming that I looked dumb enough. They knew that I made the statement out of ignorance rather than any sort of rooted animosity. It was then one of the security guards slammed his coffee on the table and called out, "For God's sakes, kids, the drag queens!" Jeez, get your head out of the sand. Now that the entire Waffle House was laughing at me, I did the sensible thing. I respectfully paid off my tab. I apologized to those people and returned home with what minor shreds of dignity I had left. I returned home and repeated one simple mantra to myself: never again. I was never again going to be shamed by strangers in a Waffle House for not knowing what was going on. And naturally, given the nature of my life, never again lasted until about a month ago. I had gotten out of work early, meaning it was probably somewhere around 4 a.m. As I had skipped breakfast and lunch, I had reached that point where it was either eat pages of my notebook or return to Waffle House. Now that I had an additional 6 years to cure, I felt somewhat confident that I wasn't going to be embarrassed for not being up to date on popular culture. At the very least, if the drag queens were there, I would know what they are and not be confused. So naturally, I came in, I ordered my chocolate chip waffle and an OJ thinking I was safe. Even when it comes to Waffle House, whose motto is, "We don't stop for hurricanes, why on earth would we stop you?" So much so, a group of gentlemen with rather aggressive prison tattoos and ambiguous accents were all present and enjoying their meal. Despite knowing prison tattoos when I see them, I wasn't worried. I don't bother them, they don't bother me. Now, even though I thought this and I truly believed it, that does not mean I did not watch the show. Over the course of the meal, 3 people entered the Waffle House, bought a single cup of black coffee, drank it, and then left. But when they were leaving, they would always walk weirdly close to the table of the guys with the tattoos. Naturally, I tried to think nothing of it when the first guy did it. The second guy did, and I was like, alright, that's a bit on the odd side. I guess these people just don't understand personal space. Luckily, the third guy was the final piece of the puzzle, because he wasn't nearly as graceful as the rest of them. Whatever had passed between the two, he dropped on his way out. I'm 90% certain it was a tennis ball. Here's the thing, though. Tennis balls bounce. Whatever they handed this guy, it was green, and it didn't bounce. So, the guys at the table, they rolled their eyes and just sort of raised their hand like, look at this idiot, he can't even do this right. And, of course, the guy that dropped it frantically rushed to pick it up and then left. Luckily, no one really cared because it was Waffle House and it was 4 a.m. Anything goes. However, I didn't understand what was going on until I had gotten home. And in the words of a great man,
here's the thing. Fine.
Listen,
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded.
Finally, I got home and I had a glass of water to try to wash the taste of chocolate and orange out of my mouth. And I realized something. I had not just witnessed one drug deal, I had witnessed 3. I literally had to sleep on it to realize they were drug deals. And that was the last time I've ever been to a Waffle House. Now, I hear some of you asking, why didn't you just go to IHOP? They're open 24 hours. Well, the simple answer to that, do I look like I'm made of money? I don't have that kind of cash. There's servers, and there's nice tables, and they have the syrup on the table. No, you go to Waffle House, you spend your $7, and that's your meal. It's cheap, it's fast, and out of the 2 times I've been there, I've never left without seeing a good show. But as a recap of my last 2 times at Waffle House. The first time I was shamed for not knowing what a drag queen was, and the other time I watched multiple drug deals, but was slow to pick up on what was going on. So overall, I give Waffle House a 6 out of 10. Okay food, great company. I'm Window to Nebula, and I wish you all well, and thank you for your time.